This morning's Breakfast Bible Bite picks up in Psalm 72, verses 5 through 7, which prophetically speaks of the period which lends insight to the conclusion of the millennial reign of Christ. Verse 5 of 72 reads, "Let them fear you while the sun endures, and as long as the moon, throughout all generations." The psalmist offers this hyperbole: people from all nations shall reverence him as long as the sun and the moon endure. The idea that his reign will continue forever. Since God's incarnation 2,000 years ago, we have seen kingdoms rise and empires fall, but our Christ remains. The kingdom of our Christ is perpetual. There will never be a change of dynasty, and neither will a new realm ever replace it. Under his rulership, all of the affairs, all of the generations born on the earth will be brought to a fitting conclusion. In verse 6 of 72, "May he come down like rain upon the freshly mown grass, like showers that water the earth." A Jewish convert by the name of Heinrich Prince, 1800 to 1877, was a Christian missionary and a Hebrew grammarian who translated a work by Jonathan Ben, the Chaldee paraphrase on the prophet Isaiah. The work in that Hebrew publication stems from Isaiah 33, 1 through 5, and renders the mown grass as that where the locust had passed over a field, devouring all in its path. However, overall passages refer prophetically to the earthly governance of Christ, where the meadows are refreshed by a gentle rain, pictorial of the reign of Christ, refreshing all after the fiery scourge of judgment from the tribulation and the fallen governments that had transformed fruitful lands into deserts. The acceptable interpretation that the field is like the drops of rainwater that have fallen on a parched land, thus rendering the field as green, freshly mowed meadow. And the word picture is of our Christ's reign, which is just as beautiful. His reign will bring mercy and refreshment to those who have endured. Verse 7 of 72 reads, "In his days may the righteousness flourish, and the abundance of peace till the moon is no more." As we read in the commentary on verse 3 and 4, after the millennial reign of Christ on earth and the great white throne judgment, the old earth had passed away, and the sun and the moon will be no more. In that understanding, this verse makes perfect sense. Where truth and integrity are in authority, the best of men prosper most. Have you noticed that under rulers like Castro, Kim Jong-un, and Adolf Hitler or Chairman Mao, only like-minded thugs prosper? However, under the righteous millennial reign of our Lord Jesus Christ, the godly will flourish, and because his administration will oversee the affairs of all nations, towns and hamlets, halls of justice, and institutions of education, peace will persevere in abundance. This will last 1,000 years, at least until the devil is released to create the concluding havoc and rebellion that brings about the final separation of those bound for the lake of fire from those who are destined to eternity in the New Jerusalem and on the new earth. Rebellious men whose names have been erased from the Lamb's book of life will have no excuse when they stand before the judgment seat and the books are opened. Revelation 21, 1 through 4. "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea no longer existed. I also saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down from heaven from God, prepared like a bride adorned for her husband. Then I heard a loud voice from the throne, 'Look, God is dwelling with humanity, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will no longer exist. Grief, crying, and pain will exist no longer, because the previous things have passed away.'"